My name is Faye Carpenter, and I'm 29 years old, the oldest daughter in a family I used to believe was unbreakable. For most of my life, we were the kind of family people pointed to and said, "That's what closeness looks like." Sunday dinners weren't optional. Holidays meant too many dishes on the table and not enough chairs, so someone always squeezed in at the end. Birthdays were loud, arguments were short lived. No one ever left feeling like they didn't belong. I was the dependable one, the organizer, the built in backup plan. If someone needed help, they called me first. If plans fell apart, I fixed them. That role became so natural I didn't question it. I wore it like proof that I mattered. That's why, when things started to feel off, I told myself I was overthinking. It began quietly. A conversation that paused when I walked into the room. A joke everyone laughed at except me. A reference to something I didn't remember happening because it hadn't happened with me. At first, I brushed it off. Families evolve. People get busy. Life pulls everyone in different directions. That's what I told myself. Then one night, while scrolling Instagram before bed, I saw a photo that made my chest tighten. My family sat around a restaurant table, my parents in the middle, my younger brother grinning, my sisters leaning in toward each other. Wine glasses caught the light. Plates were half finished. It looked warm, familiar, and unmistakably complete. Except for one thing. I wasn't there. I stared at the photo longer than I should have, waiting for the realization to hit me. Oh, I was working that night. Or I had already said no. But none of that came. When I asked my mom about it the next day, she answered too quickly. "Oh, that was super last minute, Bangi," she said. "We didn't think you'd be free." The way she said it, casual, almost rehearsed, lodged itself in my chest. Over the next few weeks, it kept happening. Brunches I only learned about through tagged stories. Beach days that showed up in group photos hours after they ended. A game night where everyone referenced an inside joke I couldn't follow. It felt like standing outside a house I grew up in, watching the lights turn on through the windows, warm, inviting, but realizing the door was locked. One night, I scrolled through our family group chat, trying to convince myself I was wrong, that this was all coincidence. But the messages felt coded, references I didn't understand, laughter that didn't include me. Like there were two conversations happening, one I could see, and one I couldn't. I thought about confronting them, about asking outright what was going on. But something stopped me. A small, humiliating fear whispered that maybe I'd hear something I couldn't unhear, that maybe I wasn't being excluded by accident. Then last Sunday, my mom called to say we were rescheduling our usual dinner. I felt disappointed, but I didn't question it. Until later that night, when I saw another post, this time from my brother's girlfriend. A group photo. At my parents' house. Everyone smiling. Everyone present. Except me. That was when it hit. Not slowly, not gently. Like a punch straight to the chest. They weren't forgetting me. They were choosing not to include me. I didn't call. I couldn't. For days, I replayed every recent interaction in my head, searching for the moment I must have done something wrong. The argument I didn't remember. The boundary I unknowingly crossed. Desperate for clarity, I posted anonymously on Reddit, asking if anyone else had ever felt pushed out of their own family. The responses came fast, and they all said the same thing. "You're not crazy." Then, just when I thought the confusion couldn't deepen, my phone buzzed with a message from an anonymous account. "I know why they're avoiding you, but you're not ready to hear it." Before I could reply, the message disappeared. I sat there staring at my screen, heart racing, skin cold. That was the moment I knew. This wasn't in my head. This wasn't accidental. And whatever the truth was, my family was hiding it from me. I didn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the photo again. The way everyone leaned in. The way the table looked full without me. By morning, the confusion had hardened into something sharper. Anger, maybe. Or resolve. When my mom mentioned a small family brunch happening that weekend, I didn't ask for details. I just said, "What time?" I showed up early. Too early. The house was quiet when I arrived, the way it always was, right before people started filtering in. The smell of coffee hung in the air. Plates sat stacked on the counter like they were waiting for permission to be used. I stood there, heart pounding, rehearsing lines in my head. Don't yell, don't accuse, just ask. My parents exchanged a look when they saw me. It was quick, subtle, but I saw it. "Hey," my mom said, forcing a smile. "You're early." "I wanted to help," I replied, even though we both knew that wasn't why I was there. As everyone arrived, the tension thickened. My younger brother avoided my eyes. My youngest sister hovered near the window, suddenly fascinated by her phone. My other sister hugged me a little too tightly, like she was trying to reassure herself. We sat. Plates were filled, glasses clinked, no one spoke about anything real. I let it go on for exactly 3 minutes. Then I said, "So, can someone explain why I wasn't invited last Sunday?" Silence dropped over the table like a heavy cloth. My mom laughed softly. "Faye, we thought you were busy with work." I nodded. "Okay, what about the brunch 2 weeks ago, or the beach day, or the weekend trip I only found out about through Instagram?" No one answered. The air felt tight. My hands started shaking, but I pressed them flat against my thighs. "I'm not mad," I said, though my voice betrayed me. "I just want to understand." My dad stared down at his plate like it held the meaning of life. My brother shifted in his chair, jaw tight, eyes flicking to my mom and back again. My youngest sister wouldn't look at me at all. "Did I do something?" I asked. Because if I did, I deserved to know. My mom reached for her coffee mug, then stopped, hands trembling. "Faye," she said carefully, "you're overthinking this." That was it. That was the moment something inside me snapped. "I'm not," I said, louder now. "I've watched my family live a whole separate life without me for months. I've been lied to, dismissed, treated like I'm not even here." My brother finally spoke. "There is a reason," he said quietly. Every head turned toward him. My heart pounded. What reason? He hesitated, looked at my mom. "It's complicated." I laughed, sharp and hollow. "No, it's not. You're either excluding me on purpose or you're not. So tell me why." My sister reached for my arm. "Faye, please." I pulled away. "Don't," I said. "Don't try to calm me down when no one's willing to be honest." My voice cracked, and that scared me more than my anger. "I'm your daughter," I said, looking at my parents. "Your sister. I deserve the truth." No one answered. They just stared at me like I was a stranger who had wandered into the wrong house. I stood so fast my chair scraped against the floor. "I'm done," I said, grabbing my jacket. "When you're ready to treat me like part of this family again, let me know." "Faye," my mom called after me. I didn't turn around. That night, my youngest sister texted, "It's not what you think. I promise. I'll explain soon." I didn't reply. I posted an update on Reddit instead. The responses were immediate, furious on my behalf, validating the anger I was trying not to drown in. Later, my dad called. "I'm sorry," he said. "We should have handled things differently." "What things?" I asked. Silence. "It's complicated," he repeated. I hung up feeling more lost than ever. The next morning, I called my aunt, hoping she'd be honest. She wasn't. "Just be patient," she warned softly. "Some things are meant to protect you." Protect me. That word followed me all day, heavy and wrong. By nightfall, patience felt impossible. If my family wouldn't tell me the truth, I would find it myself. I wish I could say I handled the next few days with dignity. I didn't. I obsessed. Every unanswered question became a weight pressing on my chest. Every notification buzz sent my heart racing, only to crash when it wasn't from anyone in my family. They went quiet after the brunch, like they were waiting me out, waiting for me to calm down, to forget, to accept whatever version of reality they'd decided was safest for me. I couldn't, so I did something I never thought I would. I borrowed my best friend Maya's phone and created a fake Instagram account. It felt ridiculous at first, like I was playing detective in my own life, but desperation has a way of stripping pride. I followed my parents, my siblings, a few close family friends. Within days, I started seeing things I wasn't meant to see. Stories posted late at night, comments that hinted at shared jokes, photos that felt too familiar, too coordinated. Then I saw it. A screenshot someone had accidentally posted to their story, up for barely a minute before it vanished. But it was long enough. A group chat. The name sat at the top of the screen like a slap. Family time. My name wasn't there. My stomach dropped so fast I thought I might throw up. I zoomed in, hands shaking, catching fragments of messages before the story disappeared. Inside jokes, planning, references to keeping things quiet. There it was, proof I wasn't imagining any of it. I called my younger sister immediately. She didn't answer. I texted, "I know about the group chat." 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Finally, she called. "Faye," she said, voice tight. "Please don't freak out." Too late. "When was it created?" I asked. A pause, then barely audible. 6 months ago. 6 months. The timeline hit me like a wave. That was exactly when everything had started to change. "That chat was made to talk about something personal," she said quickly. "Something they didn't want you involved in." "Why?" I demanded. "Why wouldn't you want me involved in my own family?" "I can't explain," she said. "Not yet." The call ended with more questions than answers. That night, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, replaying the past year in reverse, searching for the fracture point. And that's when another realization settled in. 6 months ago wasn't just when my family pulled away. It was when things began falling apart between me and Ethan, my boyfriend. At first, the connection felt ridiculous, like I was grasping for meaning where there was none. My family had liked Ethan in the beginning. He was charming, attentive, the kind of guy my mom praised for trying so hard. Then, suddenly, their tone shifted. Invitations stopped. Conversations went cold. And not long after, Ethan and I broke up in the most confusing, emotionally sterile way possible. No explosion, no dramatic fight. Just distance. I stared at my phone for nearly an hour before finally texting him. Did something happen with my family before we broke up? He replied 10 minutes later. There was an issue, but it's not my place to say. My heart pounded. What issue? Another pause. I don't want to make things worse. That was when panic truly set in. Reddit didn't help. People speculated wildly. Secret illnesses, financial trouble, hidden addictions, affairs. One comment stuck with me. Families don't hide things unless they're afraid of the truth. The next day, I got another message from a burner account. Your family was protecting you from something that happened last year. Protecting me. That word again. It didn't feel protective. It felt like erasure. I drove to my parents' house without calling. When I walked in, my mom looked like she'd seen a ghost. My dad stood frozen near the kitchen counter, eyes fixed on the floor. I know about the group chat, I said. My mom's face crumpled. My dad said nothing. Before either of them could speak, the front door slammed. My brother stormed in, face flushed, anger radiating off him. This has gone far enough, he shouted. She deserves the truth. We can't keep lying to her. The room went dead silent. Then he turned and walked out, without explaining anything. I stood there shaking, surrounded by half-answers and terrified faces, realizing something far worse than exclusion was happening. They weren't just leaving me out. They were actively deciding my life without me. I didn't speak to anyone for 3 days. No calls, no texts, no checking social media under my fake account. I needed silence, real silence, because my thoughts had become too loud. Every memory replayed itself under a harsher light. Every moment I'd brushed off as nothing suddenly felt intentional. On the 4th day, I sent one message to the main family group chat. Either you tell me the truth or I'm done. I won't be part of a family that lies to my face. Less than a minute later, my phone rang. It was my youngest sister. Please don't cut us off, she said, breathless. Can we meet? Just us. I'll tell you everything. We met at a small cafe on the edge of town, neutral territory, somewhere that didn't belong to any of us. She looked exhausted, dark circles under her eyes, hands wrapped tight around her coffee cup like it was the only thing keeping her steady. Before I say this, she whispered, you need to know they thought they were protecting you. My stomach twisted. A family friend, she said slowly, saw Ethan with another woman. The words didn't land right away. Saw him how? I asked. Together, intimate. There were photos. The room felt too bright, too loud. She continued before I could speak. They sent the photos to Mom. Dad was there when she opened them. They confronted Ethan, without you. I felt like I'd been pushed underwater. He admitted it, she said. He said it was a mistake. He begged them not to tell you, said it would destroy you. My hands were shaking so badly I had to press them flat against the table. So, instead, I said slowly, they decided to destroy me quietly. She flinched. They made a deal with him, she admitted. He promised to end things with you cleanly. No drama, no explanation, and in return, they wouldn't expose him. The secret group chat, the sudden distance, the orchestrated silence. It all clicked into place. My breakup hadn't been organic. It had been managed, curated. I stood up so fast my chair screeched against the floor. I need air, I said, already walking out. I drove for over an hour, aimless, screaming in my car until my voice went hoarse. When the shock finally cracked, the pain rushed in, raw and overwhelming. That night, I went to my parents' house. My mom broke down the second she saw me. I was trying to protect you, she sobbed. I couldn't watch you be destroyed. You didn't protect me, I said. You took my choice. My brother admitted he was the one who pushed hardest to keep the secret, that he thought time would soften the blow. It didn't. I told them I needed space. Then I cut contact. For a month, I blocked them on social media, muted the group chat, and stopped answering calls. I started therapy because I couldn't carry the weight alone anymore. My therapist said something that changed everything. They didn't just hide the truth, they controlled your reality. 2 weeks in, I got an email from Ethan. He apologized for cheating, for lying, for letting my family handle something that should have been between us. I didn't reply. Not yet. The silence didn't heal me. It clarified me. Therapy became the one place where nothing was softened or reframed for my comfort. I told the story out loud. The secret group chat, the photos, the deal they made behind my back. And for the first time, I heard it the way an outsider would. It wasn't protection, my therapist said gently. It was control, even if it came from fear. That sentence stayed with me. A week later, I finally opened Ethan's email again. I read it slowly this time. He took responsibility for cheating, admitted he was afraid of losing his reputation with my family, and said he'd convinced himself that ending things quietly was less cruel. I replied with one sentence. Thank you for the apology. I don't want to revisit the past. Closing that door felt clean. Not long after, my aunt called. She didn't excuse what happened, but she explained something that helped the anger settle into understanding. My mom had been cheated on years before, long before I was old enough to notice the cracks it left behind. Fear had taught her that truth was dangerous. Understanding that didn't erase the damage, but it gave it context. My dad reached out next. We met alone, no mediators, no siblings. I failed you, he said quietly. I went along with something I knew was wrong because I didn't want to fight your mother, and that makes it my fault too. It was the first time I felt the wall inside me crack. Family therapy was his idea. I agreed, with conditions. No more secrets, no more decisions made for me. And if I walked away, they would respect it. The first session was brutal. My mom cried the entire time. She admitted she'd let her own trauma rewrite my life. My brother apologized without defending himself and, right there in the room, deleted the secret group chat. It wasn't forgiveness, but it was accountability. Over time, we started meeting once a month. Real conversations, no pretending. They checked in instead of assuming. They asked instead of deciding. I kept going to therapy. Rebuilding my self-esteem felt like learning to walk again, but I was steadier every week. Then, one final piece fell into place. A letter arrived from the family friend who had taken the photos. They apologized for staying silent, explained my mom had asked them to let it go for my sake. That night, I had one last conversation with my mom. We cried. She admitted how fear had ruled her choices. I told her how it felt to realize my life had been rearranged without my consent. We ended with a hug, not a fix, but a beginning. Looking back, I've learned that honesty isn't just about truth, it's about respect. Secrets don't protect relationships, they rot them from the inside. We're not perfect now, but we're real. And for the first time in a long time, that feels like enough.